Yes.
Leave
Nice.
me too.
Guys, I don't know. I can't see my, and do you see my
Yeah.
green screen?
Yeah, we see your green screen. We see you as well.
Here.
But let me see why that could be.
Come on, this is so ugly. It's so too small, but I cannot see it.
Do you want? I don't know why you wouldn't see yourself. Do you want to leave and come back?
If I leave the let me see what I have here. Mirror. Display always hide self view. Hide self view.
Aha.
Hey, so
Okay.
bad. I have to take this off. I have to.
So
I bought it. I bought it yesterday. It arrived yesterday.
it's tied to your chair. I love it. You know, 2 years ago, I hosted the book launch of a friend, Lério, you know, Sabi. And
Yeah.
I was hosting his book launch. It was online. And we wanted to have this, we both had the same background. And the idea was that it should look as if we were sitting in the same room. You know, he was in Amsterdam and I was here.
Yeah.
So I went to the Chinese shop and I bought any kind of green screen I could find. And I got this whole, the paper, I taped it all over the wall in my living room. It's still not really working. Then halfway through the thing, while I'm doing the hosting, it starts coming off the wall behind me, and suddenly I'm covered in green paper.
Oh boy.
Oh God! Is my sound okay?
Yes.
Because I don't have. I'm just using my laptop. I don't have proper microphone.
I prefer to use this. I don't know what.
Yeah,
I will
no,
let people in,
sure, it's gonna be
okay?
better quality. And I have a problem with light, so I've got the ring light. That's what I'm using now.
Yeah.
And all the lights in my room are very yellow because I like warm light. So when I put that on, I look like I've got what's the illness called?
Yeah, I know.
Yellow. So I don't know what's
Hepatitis.
better, but this is very dark, no?
No.
I think
If
it's
you
better
were-
like this than before.
If you were black, if you were a black guy, you would have a problem with because I need a lot of lights.
Isidro, tell one thing. You'll introduce me before I start, correct?
Yes, I introduce you and I introduce Percy as well. I have your bio here. Let me put it ready on the other screen. I will let people in.
Okay, I would just before we let people in, can I just test the screen sharing?
Yes.
Okay, because I want to try something I've never tried before, which is probably a bad idea.
You have to be very fast because it's already 7.
Okay, one second. Oh, now the file is in use. Come on, the file is not in use. Go away. Okay, the file is in use. Sorry. Here we are. Okay, now I want to try this. Now I know I look funny in this, but
yeah, I will use that. That's why I bought the
aha.
Yes.
So I'm just going to be this disembodied figure that's standing. I'm not going to use this in the beginning, but it's good to know that it works. Okay.
Yeah. Can I let people in?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there's half my club already.
Hello, guys.
Hi guys.
Hello,
Isidro.
Suleiman, how are you?
Fine, and you? Nice to see you.
Katarina.
Hi.
A
How are
lot,
you?
Hi,
a lot of
everybody.
a lot of known
Good to see you
faces.
all.
Hello.
Wow. Hello, Sonia. Hello,
Hello, guys.
everybody.
Hi Percy. Katarina. Hi.
Hi,
we-
Suleiman.
Hi,
We-
Suleiman.
I don't know if it's your first time here. We have a dynamic which is while we wait a few minutes for other people to join, the procrastinators, yes, we start asking people where they are speaking from, and it's a good thing to do. So I will start with Carl Iramoto. It's the first one in my.
Okay. From Marbella, Spain. I'm actually in the same club with Percy.
Great. Suleiman.
Suleiman from Casablanca Toastmasters Club, Morocco.
Wonderful. Katerina.
From Oporto Toastmasters Club.
Yes, wonderful. Ana Rita Melo.
Leadership Toastmasters Club, Lisbon.
Wonderful.
Hey,
Jules Payne. I believe I pronounced it well, correctly, right? You are muted.
Hello, I'm Julie Payne and I'm in the Marbella Toastmasters, the same one that Carl and
Percy.
Percy go to.
Yeah,
I live
thank
on
you.
Costa del Sol.
Welcome. Sara Rosado.
Hello, I'm from Coimbra Toastmaster Club, and I'm actually in Portimão speaking, so
Yes, wonderful. Welcome.
thank you, thank you.
Carlos Vilaça. Hello, my friend.
From leadership, Lisbon.
Great, welcome. Diego Simões.
From Porto Toastmaster.
Great, welcome. Sonia Silva.
Olá, I'm speaking from Lisbon and I'm from the Lisbon Toastmasters Club.
The first club in Portugal. Welcome. Aline Ribeiro.
From Porto Toastmasters.
Wonderful, welcome. I don't know this guy. Who is it? Sergio, what? Sergio Águia. Everybody knows Sergio. We can hear you. We can't hear you. No.
He's not actually speaking. He's just moving his lips to make fun of us.
Okay. That everybody knows Porto. Knows Sergio is from Porto. So I will go to Santi Martinez. Well, I believe you are in Spain, correct? Yeah, okay, welcome. Raquel Garcia.
Hello.
Hello,
I'm Raquel from Madrid Advanced Speakers.
welcome, great. Helen, dear Helen, come on.
How are you?
I'm fine, I'm great. And because you came, I'm even better.
I'm from Marbella, but I'm in Mallorca.
Welcome, Helen. Benjamin, I don't know if you want to talk. You there?
I don't know if I can talk, but I'm
Yeah.
eating. Sorry. Okay.
Where are you eating from?
I'm eating from Porto.
Great. It's not a francesinha, is it?
No.
No.
It's not.
Okay. Salvador Ribas Mas.
Hi, good evening from Mallorca, Spain.
Welcome. Great. Noha Ken Sal. Salma. Benoit Ken Salma. Or Benoit Shen Salma.
Hi, I'm from Rabat Toastmaster.
Wonderful club.
Morocco.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
My friend Manuel Alanza, why are you hiding? You gave a workshop about being on camera, and now you have your camera off. What is that? Macomo, Manela, Macomo.
Can you see me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
I wasn't expecting you calling every single person, and I've been sick. But thank you. I'm Manuela. I belong to Marbella and Malaga. So can you imagine?
Great.
2 in 1.
Great.
Toastmaster.
Welcome, Manela. Ana Martins. 2 more minutes. Roberto Freitas.
Olá, Isidro, desculpa.
Our former division director.
Hello, everybody.
Are you speaking from Lisbon, of course?
From Lisbon, yes. The center of the universe.
Your universe.
Yes.
Ana Martins. No? Sonia Costa.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm from Continue Toastmasters.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Ana Lobo.
Hi, my name is Ana Lobo. I'm from Douro Toastmasters.
Are you Portuguese or Spanish?
Portuguese.
And why did you say Lobo?
Because it's my name.
It's not Lobo?
Lobo? Yeah.
Yes, in Portuguese,
wolf.
Lobo.
Wolf. In English.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Well, 10 minutes, I think it's enough. I see Samir, I see Zineb, my dear friends, Zineb and Samir. I see Vera, that today she cannot talk. Pedro Parreira, Maria, a lot of people. So, guys and girls, people, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, let's start. We will start with Lério first, and then we'll have Percy. So I will present Lério. Let me tell you one thing before I present Lério. I joined Toastmasters in 2017. In 2018, I attended a contest. Lério delivered his speech, value number 4. It was the first time I said, wow, in Toastmasters. So Lério is an international speaker and a international keynote speaker. He was born and raised in Mozambique. He has lived in Germany, Berlin for 1 year, and in Portugal, Lisbon for the last 10 years. He has delivered keynote and seminars throughout Africa, Europe, and USA. People are his passion, definitely. When on stage, he has the ability to expand his audience's comfort zone while having an engaging and inclusive experience. It's my pleasure to introduce my friend, great speaker, Lério Cunha. Lério.
Nice. Thank you, Isidro, for such a wonderful introduction. Just to share that for me, it is so nice to be here with you all, especially because the last years I've been between Lisbon and Mozambique. Right now, I'm speaking from Mozambique, Maputo, the capital. And being in this event is nice because it makes me feel that I'm still part of the Toastmaster family, which in part has had a huge influence in my career on what I do today as a trainer and also as a keynote. But I'll try to not talk a lot about myself because this workshop is for you, not for me, not workshop, the session. And the first thing that I'd like to ask you, it is to, when you see this picture, what do you see? What are the first things that come to your mind? Or, not or, I don't want a definition, I don't want to right or wrong, just so we have a hug, connection, friends, compassion, comfort, happy, compassion, support, smiles, Lério and Isidro, share. If I could put everything together, empathy, Toastmasters, for me, what I see when I look at this draw, I see two best friends having a conversation. Two best friends having a conversation. At any workshop, at any session, any training that I deliver, be it 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 days, the very first thing that I talk about and that I show is actually this visual. Usually it is in the wall, and then I ask participants, as I just asked you now, what do you see here? But what I used to do before I came to this idea was actually to show the sentence at the end of the training or at the end of the workshop. Public speaking is like having a conversation with your best friend. It was a way that I like to, to wrap up the workshop, to wrap up the whole training, showing this sentence. Until one day that changed. It was when my former roommate, and also one of my best friends, his name is Diogo, and he was still studying for his law degree. I think it was in his last year. And what happened was I arrived home after work and I saw that he was stressed, and I was like, presentation, and I'm so nervous about it. I'm trying to find the right words, but I'm always forgetting, and I need those results to, I need this course to pass in my whole year. So I'm super nervous and I don't have a lot of time. I'm really tired. Do you have any tips? Since you like communication, you're in Toastmasters, you also deliver trainings and workshops on this topic. And I was like, okay, let me see. And I was like, okay, there's so many things I could give as a topic as a tip. So I was like, okay, do you want to do the presentation to me? He was like, okay. I was like, okay. Then I watched, and I could see that he was nervous. And after 10 minutes presentation, I was like, okay, Diogo, who's your best friend? And he said, okay, I have a few, but yeah, you are one of them. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, so now when you think of the teacher, tomorrow's teacher that will be in your presentation, think of me. When you look at him, think that he has my face, this clothing, okay? So right now, next time that you're gonna rehearse it, think that you are doing to me, not to the teacher. Or if you see an audience in front of you, like when you're looking to me, imagine that you have like 10 Lérios, 20 Lérios, 30, 50. I don't know how many will be in the auditorium or amphitheater. And I was like, okay. And then he did it. And I could feel that he was much calmer, much confident as well. And he was smiling. And then I was like, okay, how do you feel it? He was like, wow, this is crazy. I was like, yeah, tomorrow, do the same thing. The moment you start to become nervous, think, okay, I'm just doing a presentation to Lério. And the next workshop, no, not the next workshop, the next day, he comes home, he hugged me. I was like, dude, it was so nice. I was so confident. I knew that I could deliver. And I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, maybe instead of showing this sentence at the end of the workshop, maybe I could do it in the beginning. So I think, okay, what can I do? I designed this, and the next workshop I had a few weeks later, this was the first thing we did. I did at the workshop. What do you see here? And then I said, public speaking is like having a conversation with your best friend. And I remember at the end of that workshop, one of the participants came to me and he said, Lério, this for me changed everything. This was a game changer. Because now, even though that I don't have any presentation, but I can feel it, that this might work. And I was like, okay, I'd like to see it. So then for me, it was like, okay, for anything, for workshops, trainings, the first thing that I'll say or that I'll show is this visual. It'll be stuck in a wall. And what I like to say is, from now on, during this training, during this workshop, or during this session, we're not going to call it workshop. We're not going to call it session. We're not going to call it speech. We're going to call it conversation. And so that changes the way we look at a speech. We call it conversation, because what I say or what I think is that when you have a coffee, a beer, a wine, a tea scheduled with one of your best friends, you're not nervous. You don't prepare everything that you're going to say. You just go there, you're excited. Maybe a couple times there's conflictuous conversation, dilemmas to solve, but thank God it's not most of the conversation with our best friends. We go excited. So what I'm trying to say is, instead of looking at it as a speech, is looking at conversation. For me, the best speeches, when I see them online, and sometimes I've seen it 20 times, every time it feels that that person is talking to me and to me only. And I remember in the beginning, for me, was trying to put a gesture in every word that I say, memorize this word by word. I do it now, memorize word by word, just so that in the moment, I can be confident that I can improvise, then I can talk, that I can have a conversation with the audience. Now, we can have many different types of best friends. What I usually say is like, you can have, let me see, who's the first? Ana Lobo. To give me the first topic that you think in your mind, a random topic. You can write, or you can say it. Random topic. 3, 2, 1, go.
Random topic.
Yes, anything.
Oh, it was a surprise. What is the best how to improve my speaking language when I deliver a speech? How to improve my language, my movements?
Now, what I meant was a random topic like flowers, astrophysics, anything. Music. All right.
Yeah.
Music. Any genre, any type of music specific?
Classic music.
Classic music. Okay. Thank you, Anna. So Anna is an expert in classic music. How can anyone like classic music and can produce classic music? Today, she has done a presentation, 20 minutes presentation to an audience, and those audience were actually teachers from university, academic teachers. In a week from now, she's going to have the same topic. She's going to have a speech, a conversation, but with the different best friends. There will be psychologists. In a month from now, she will have same topic, classical music, but the audience still time, her best friends will be 12-year-olds or 90-year-olds. The topic is the same. The conversation, the speech is the same. What she'll need to do then is to adjust the frequency so that their best friends in the other side will actually understand what she wants the message to go across. The vocabulary, the way she will talk, topics the same, just different best friends, because we can have many different types of best friends in the audience. But then Ana Lobo can ask me, okay, but Lério, if I'm going to talk to the Prime Minister, I'm not going to talk as I'm talking to my best friend. And my question is, why not? Of course, I'm not going to give a tap in the back, not a high five. But sometimes we have this idea, oh, because it's the Prime Minister or the First Lady, we cannot say this. We need to choose the most finest words. And we forget that those are people. As long as we don't lose the respect, integrity, ethics, we just need to make it simple. I remember once, and this is something that I actually never told her, but this is something that I always share in my trainings after I heard this story. And the person who told me this story is Sandrinha Duarte. She's from, I don't remember her club, but she lives in Barcelona. She's from Porto. I met her through Toastmaster, and now we're really good friends because of Toastmasters. And once she was telling me that in one of her jobs, she's a lawyer, and one of her past jobs, she was working in a hospital. And I think she was responsible for all the legal parts, the contracts, and most of employees there were people that work in hospital and researchers. So when they used to do, I don't know if they still do it, but she told me at the time, when they used to do team buildings, they used to combine both. So team building dynamics, and there were moments as well so that the researchers, the academics could actually share the status quo of their studies. And she was the only person from a law background. The rest, scientists, academics, researchers. And during those presentations, presenting those papers, those studies, the status quo of the research of each individual, she was just like, okay, I'm not understanding a thing that they're saying. Nada. Like in Portuguese, we say, I'm seeing ships. So não estava a ver, só estava a ver navios já passar. Seeing ships crossing by. And then she's like, I must be the only one that I'm not getting. But then during one of the coffee breaks, as she was talking to 2 or 3 colleagues, she heard all of them saying like, did you understand what the other guy was saying during that presentation? Did you understand what she said? I couldn't understand a thing. And for me, this was, wow. Even between scientists, academics, they were not understanding each other. Why? Because I think the reason why it was like, okay, I'm presenting to other academics, so I need to choose most complex words, most complex sentences, and the message is not getting across because you're not speaking to your best friend. Because even if I'm a scientist, when I'm speaking to my best friend with a completely different background than mine, I need to adjust the frequency, the vocabulary, just so that even in a complex way, they can understand what I'm saying. So let's say, okay, now you already know who is your best friend that you're going to have the conversation. And this is I really think that this can be, we can apply this to Toastmasters, because sometimes we go into a different club, or when we're competing, maybe I'm used to compete to a Portuguese audience, but then when I go to district, the audience will be Portuguese, will be Moroccan, will be Spanish. I don't know if our district grew more than this, Andorra as well. So now we're talking to different best friends. It's not only one best friend. So we need to adjust. Okay, so now we have our best friend that we're going to share a conversation. I versus them. So what do I need to adjust? Because sometimes, let's put it like that. Let's say that your conversation, your speech, your presentation has 20 slides. Each of the slides has a topic. Many times when we have a speech, we think that when we receive feedback and someone says like, I think you don't need the sentence, you can cut it. And we go like, oh, how could you do that? That's my baby. If I cut the sentence, the whole speech, the whole conversation will lose sense. I cannot. The same thing goes to when we already know which best friend is in the audience. Maybe we don't need to present all the 20 slides. I know that maybe for this type of best friends, I will tackle maybe slide number 1, 5, and 7. It's going to touch their hearts. It's going to speak to their soul. But for the 12-year-old best friend, maybe 1, 5, and 7, it's not that important. Let's go for 12, 13, 17, and then the last slide as well. So now, we don't need to tell everything about the conversation, and we can adjust and adapt accordingly to the audience. Now, I'm not going to say gossip, but raise your hand when your best friend comes like, you won't believe what just happened. Okay, I feel, see, when my friend says that, I'm like, what? Stop. The world needs to stop. I want to listen to whatever and I'm hoping that it's something good. And when we have, or when we create that feeling of a conversation, that's what happens in the audience. So what we want, or what we want to avoid, is actually to, so what? Even if it's unconscious, like when we share something in a speech, in a conversation, even if I'm like, yeah, so what? Tell me something I don't know. Okay? We want to go for the, how so? You start telling a conversation, the first very thing that you share, you want the audience, even if they're not holding their cell phone, what we want is like, tell me more. How so? I want to know more. It's engaging. It's engaging. The world stops because that conversation is just immersive, and we want to dive deep into that conversation. Now, we're almost to the end before Isidro cut me off. I want to know who here has a complex job or is working in a complex project that, to speak to the most of us mortals, it is just complexity. Okay, I want to see who's writing something. Software engineer, Carl Hiramoto. Okay, I want to see another one. Writing a book. I think I just spoke a little bit loud. Another one, author, editor. All right, so I'll go for the first one with software engineer. Software engineer. Let me see. Are you with your video turned on?
Yeah.
All right.
So I think like you're talking programming languages, you're talking like a computer for a foreign language to anyone that doesn't know computer programming language, right?
It's okay. So now what I want to do, something that I heard about, something called table topics. This is just similar, not the same thing. Carl, explain to me and everyone here, we are your best friends, and we just happen to be 8-year-olds. Okay?
Yeah.
You can speak up to 1 minute to 2 if you want, and explain what you do and what is software engineering.
So imagine you play, everyone plays computer games, right? And you use Google, you use all these different things on your computer, and software engineers make all that stuff work. And software engineering is a lot of telling computers really simple things like 1 + 1, and the computer can do it. And what the computers do really well is they can do the same thing over and over millions of times a day, and they don't get tired doing it. So if you want to automate something, or you want to make a product which can serve millions of people, you write it once and it can do the same thing millions of times, doesn't get tired, just does it.
All right. Now, yes, this is something that we can practice with our, if you have a speech, if you're, there's someone, let me unmute. Yeah. This exercise that we did, that we just did, and thank you very much for volunteering, Carl. It's an exercise that you can do, for instance, with your competition speech, or with just normal speech from your path, or from something from work, and you see, and you go, okay, what is the toughest audience that I could get? Okay, you find 3 friends and you tell them, okay, so now you're gonna put your shoes, your feet in your shoes of this type of audience. And we're gonna share this conversation, share this speech. And when you give me feedback, tell me if I touched your soul, if I touch your heart, if I touch your mind. And then you can, okay, now I'm gonna, and you can try to, now I'm gonna talk to farmers, now I'm gonna talk to software engineers, now I'm gonna talk to doctors, I'm gonna talk to 5-year-olds, to 85-year-olds, maybe from people from the past. The same speech, you can do it to many different audiences while having a conversation. Most of the times, I won't say always because today is not the case, I do the training sessions while standing with the backdrop, everything for professional lights. And today I was like, okay, I'm talking about having a conversation, turning your speech into a conversation. So I'm going to do it in the sofa so it can be intimate. That's the feeling that I always try to, or it is my utmost goal when I share a speech with the audience. To last, I would say be addicted in having conversation with as many best friends as you can. With all types that could you think of, ask also for suggestion, and then practice. Because I think one of the utmost goals when you're on stage is actually to, at the moment, you just feel what the audience need, what kind of approach. And then you have a message and you can adapt as you deliver while having a conversation, having an engaging conversation. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you, Lério. That's such an inspiring workshop. Now I will ask, I believe that people have some questions. So be ready, Lério. Lério, be Lério and be ready to answer them. Questions? Anyone?
I can have one for later, just because I need to. What? Can I ask a question, Larry?
Yes, Roberto, go ahead.
Because you're talking about talking with friends, what would be your worst friend that you would be afraid to talk?
Are you thinking or are you frozen?
I think actually my best friends, the actual best friends, I think it's yeah, I think I'm very comfortable with strangers, not all strangers, with Toastmasters. But if I had an audience with all my best friends, I think it can, I think I would feel the most nervous. I would enjoy it after starts having a conversation, a speech. But before that, I think it's the time that I would sweat the most before starting engaging. Yeah.
Thanks, Larry. I have the same feeling, so I understand. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Roberto. I have 2 hands raised. Noha Kem, I don't know if I pronounce it well.
Yeah,
and then Imad. First, go ladies first, so go ahead.
Who of the ladies?
You.
Oh, okay. So my question is how to make it intimate. Like, do you have some exercises or something to give us so that we can have this kind of conversation, friendly conversation with the audience?
I think the simple your words are, the less complex they are, just saying like different antonyms, the better. Because when you talk with your best friends, you don't use complex vocabulary. You just have a conversation. One thing that I had it reserved here, it is, so one thing is to make it simple. one add-on how to make simple when you're having a conversation is including M&As in your speech, in your conversation. M&As are metaphors and analogies. And I had one, just for instance, let me see. Here, a fellow Toastmaster shared this picture with me. Can you guys see? Is it visible?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Now?
No.
Okay, never mind. It was a picture of a Guinness beer. Even if you don't like beer, probably you've seen and you know what a Guinness beer is, and saying that the universe is like a Guinness beer, where the foam, there's 3 different layers of foam. This is what we know, this is da-da-da, and the last part is like what we don't know about the universe. And using metaphors help us to make a message simpler. Like software engineer is like roses. And then we go, okay, how so? It gets, because not like, so what? So like, how so? And then you explain and you dissect how software engineer is like roses or like planting flowers. Then you go, okay, that's interesting. Then you make it simple, something complex, and you make it simple to your audience.
Thank you.
Imad, thank you. Imad?
Thank you very much, Lério. Thank you, Isidro. Well, I mean, we all agree that we have some fundamental and crucial, I would say, friendship signs like acceptance, whatever, or however you are, trust, and support, I would say. So, but the problem is, I'm personally trying to compensate the friendship and the friends that I had in the past, because the older we grow, the less friends we have, because some went to Spain, others went to US, others to South Africa, and we lose sight, and we don't keep that friendship we had like 10 or 20 years ago. And it's good to have friends. Now I'm trying to befriend my wife, who is the best friend of me. However, my mates, Toastmaster of the club, we're trying to befriend, but everybody's busy. Come on, let's have dinner. Oh, next week. Okay, let's have lunch next month. Then we can't really get that building of friendship among club members, with a Toastmaster, a very, I would say, a platform that really offer this, I would say, this background of raising and keeping up and growing a friendship. I have lost my friends. They are outside of Morocco, but I'm trying to befriend my wife. However, my club Toastmasters as well are clubs. How can we reinforce that friendship within the club? That's my question, Lério. It's a conversation, it's an exchange. I told it as it is.
I think here the best friend is a metaphorical thing of you picture someone that maybe was your best friend in the past. And then whenever you feel that, okay, I'm going to have a conversation, for instance, Isidro is or was your best friend. So when you prepare your conversation, okay, I'm going to talk to Isidro. I'm going to have a conversation with Isidro, sharing my speech. And then it makes you more comfortable. And the moment that you're comfortable, the audience will mirror that. Because many times, oh, this is a speech, I need to do this and do this. And when you tense, that's what the audience will mirror. And that's what they'll send to you. But when you go as a conversation, they'll be like, and that's what was my message here.
Thank you very much, Lério.
Thank you, Imad. Now I have Suleimane. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Lério, for your outstanding presentation. It was very, very great. Thanks a lot. During your presentation, you raised a pine card where it was written I versus them. Can you give more precisions about this? What message you would like to share with us?
It is, so when you have a certain audience and that you're going to have a conversation, and when I say conversation, it is a conversation, it is a speech, it is a workshop, your audience, when you're going to have a conversation with them, sometimes it is not to fall in the trap to feel that everything that I have about this topic, it is important for my audience, because then it can become I versus them. The idea is actually choose the things that you love the topic, but you don't need to share everything to all the best friends. So think as if you had 10 parts in your speech or 10 slides, maybe slide number 5 is about finance, and slide number 11 is about impact. According to your best friends, you're going to choose which slides, which parts of the conversation for the same topic you're going to present, because otherwise we'll be like, so what? This is not relevant for me. So what I'm saying is, if you know your audience, your best friend, then you know what is the one thing that will touch their heart. So it's not a versus, it is like an exchange. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Lério. Very clear now.
Great. Lério, thank you one more time and for this wonderful presentation. And because we have 2 speakers today, I'm going to switch the room. This is the same room. Don't get tricked by me. I will present our next speaker. Guys, I'm not making this up. I told you that Lério was the first wow I gave in Toastmasters. Guess who's the owner of the reason for my second wow? And I'm not making this up. It was Percy Roland. Percy delivered a target speech in 2019 for the evaluation speech contest in English. And if you remember, he took his shirt off, but that's not why I remember the speech. It was a wonderful speech, and I said, wow. So, who's Percy Roland? Percy Roland is a contest addict, and in spite of, so far, never winning the international speech contest at the district level, starting in 2010, 30 years already, with a humorous speech contest, he has tried his luck in every contest discipline with varying degrees of success. From winning at District 59 table topics in 2015, to not qualifying at club level a few times and getting disqualified for going overtime many times. Most recently, he came 3rd in the international speech contest in the District 107 in 2021, and won table topics at division level in 2022. But it is his losses, not his wins, that have taught him the most. And I will repeat that. It is his losses, not his win, that have taught him the most about competing, public speaking, and life. In this session, he will share some of his most memorable failures and the lessons learned from them. Because in Toastmasters, even and especially in our losing moments, we are truly winners. Percy is a long-time member of the Achievers Club in Marbella, and in his free time, dabbles in real estate and travels as often as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, Percy Roland.
Thank you very much, Isidro, for that glowing introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, do you remember your first time? I certainly do. And let me tell you straight away, it was embarrassing, it was painful, and it involved a castration. Now, before you get too alarmed here, let me tell you, I am talking about my first ever speech contest. Actually, that's not even true. It wasn't my first speech contest, but it was the first time I really went for it. Before, I had entered competitions at club level, but I was never really in it to win it, because at that time I couldn't travel. And all the next stages were in exotic locations all over Europe, and I couldn't go there. So I thought, okay, I'll go in, and my mind was not really on it. And then it happened. 2011, the gods and the stars aligned, and all the competitions were in places I could easily reach. Area, Alicante. Division, Madrid. District, Lisbon. It was the first time that Iberia hosted the major contest. Now remember, this was when we were District 59, the whole of Europe. And our division was Spain and Portugal. And I thought, okay, now it's on. I want to go there. I want to go to Lisbon as a contestant. I started researching and trying to find out more about the international speech contest. And I discovered that there was one particular type of speech that seemed to be doing better than any other. The inspirational speech. The story of overcoming struggles and reaching some kind of wonderful conclusion or enlightenment. Now, that is not exactly the kind of thing I excel at. And I thought, okay, challenge accepted. And then I came across a story, which I thought was the most inspiring that I had ever seen. And if I could be that inspired, then I'm sure my audience would be too. The story was a true story of a man born in the middle of the 19th century, deep in somewhere in Siberia. His name was Nikolai Kobelkov. And when he died in Vienna 80 years later, he was a famous, famous man, to the point that he received a state funeral. Thousands of people followed his coffin. Obituaries were written in the international press. Royalty sent their condolences. That was the man who died. The man who had been born was the last of 15 children in a little village somewhere deep in Siberia, born to very, very poor parents. Now that in itself sounds like a promising story, right? When he died, he was a celebrity, famous, wealthy, the owner of a circus empire, the most wealthy circus entrepreneur in Europe. And when he was born, he was this poor baby. But there was more, because Nikolai Kobelkov was born without arms and without legs. I thought, wow, that is inspirational. I adapted the story a little bit. I went into the competition at club level. Now, timing has never been my strength. And while I was going through the speech, I realized the cards were coming up much faster than I expected. Really? Already green? I haven't even started yet. I had to cut out a whole chunk of the speech. I thought, I murdered it. I butchered it. It's a disaster. I'm out. Imagine my surprise when they said, first place. To area I went. I spent all my time polishing the speech. I've never been much of a rehearser before. And quite honestly, I'm still not much of a rehearser. That speech, I did rehearse. I even practiced timing to some degree. I laid out a mind map because my memory is atrocious. I could never remember the details. I came up with some technique of visualizing bits and pieces of the speech and then attaching a color to them. So I knew exactly when the green card would come up and when the yellow card would come up and when the red card would come up. I did the speech at area, and the quote our dear Dhananjaya Hettiarchi is it. 7 minutes, 27 seconds. I still remember that. I was in it to win it. I was on course for Madrid. Now in Madrid, I faced the biggest audience I had ever spoken to until that point. I think there were about 80 or 90 people. I was nervous. Of course I was nervous. I had been nervous at club level even. I was certainly nervous here. Now, at Madrid, I encountered the first two slight hiccups on my journey. The first was I forgot my remote for the slides. Now, initially I'd had more than one slide, and thankfully people told me, cut the slides, just have one picture. But that one picture was crucial. It was a life-size bust of Nikolai Kobelkov. And I got it on for dramatic effect at a very specific moment. It was when first I introduced how he died, then I introduced his background, and then I revealed a big shock. He was born without arms and without legs. And every time I did that, the picture came up, and that was the reaction of the audience. I loved it. Every time I heard that sound, I knew I got them. It was crucial that that picture would come up at exactly the right moment. Now they told me, no problem. You have no remote. The timer will push the button for you. Just leave the laptop there. The timer is sitting right here. I said, who is the timer? Now, how is this for a coincidence? The timer was a young woman from Siberia. And she had, you know, there are people who basically have no facial expressions. You know, they have these very enigmatic looks. And when you talk to them, they nod, but you don't really know if they've understood from their expression. They just look at you and say yes, and you hope that they've understood. So I explained to her exactly at which point she had to press the button, at which point it had to come on. It was crucial. You understand exactly these words. I hope that she understood. The moment came, my heart beating like crazy, as you can imagine. Anyone who's been up there, I'm sure you know the feeling. I start my speech, I go through the motions. I get to the point which I had told her exactly to watch out for. I'm looking at her sitting down there. Now, she was very elegant. She was lying there like an odalisque, like that, looking at me with that enigmatic look on her face. I thought, I hope she remembers she has to press the button now. And ladies and gentlemen, there was more. He was born when you push the button, without arms and without legs. And she was lying there like that. Now, she got it absolutely right, but I nearly died of a heart attack. I thought, oh God, never again. I will never forget to bring my remote. The second obstacle happened maybe 30 seconds later. Part of the circus routine that Kobelkov did when he was a circus performer was he would jump into the audience and he would lift a man, a big man in the front row, and he would push him up and lift him up on his stumps. Now, whenever I talked about that, I jumped down. I launched myself at the audience and almost, not quite, lifted somebody up. Now, that had worked beautifully in the previous rounds. But in Madrid, the stage was raised by about half a meter. Now, I hadn't paid attention to that because I hadn't done a proper stage check. I jumped down from the stage right at some unsuspecting gentleman in the front row, and then I realized there was no going back. I couldn't get back on the stage except by turning around, showing my back to the audience, which one never does, So I had to stay there and do the speech from the floor. Thankfully, they didn't have that rule at the time that if you leave the speaking area, you get disqualified. So I didn't get disqualified for that. But I thought, surely I've lost it anyway. I mean, these were two major disasters. Imagine my amazement when I won again. Now, 2 days before the trip to Lisbon, I caught a cold. Nothing bad at first, a head cold. But you know what? How these colds sometimes develop. They go down from your nose and they end up somewhere deep in your throat. The day before, I was interviewed on the radio by my dear friend, who's a DJ in Marbella. And I've always been very self-conscious about my voice. I'm sure we all have something that we're self-conscious about. And I always felt my voice was too high-pitched and too nasal. I still do. Imagine when I went on the radio and I suddenly had the deep, sensual, sexy voice of Morgan Freeman. Well, almost. I got messages telling me, wow, your voice is so sexy. I thought, well, I like this. I'm going to Portugal. I'm going to speak on stage in front of 300 people. I'm going to be in the speech competition with this sexy voice. Yeah, bring it on. I woke up the next morning. Gone was Morgan Freeman. I sounded like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Voice completely gone. Next morning at 8 a.m., we had sound check. It was so bad that the sound engineer came down from the booth. They had a special booth in this huge hall. I was in a university. He came down and said, we can't hear a thing you're saying. You have to speak up. I said, They said, okay, well, you have to give us a sign when you come on, thumbs up. We'll turn up the volume to maximum. And the very nice lady standing next to me, Olivia Schofield, who I had no idea who she was at the time, like English, you know, English people, you're always prepared, and they've got strepsils. She had a big box of strepsils. She said, take these, and maybe by the time it's the time for the competition, you'll be able to speak. I sucked on the strepsils and thought about my life and my luck, or lack of it, and felt very philosophical. I'd almost forgotten that I was supposed to be nervous. The time came before the speech. It was lunch break. I queued up for the buffet. There was a long, long queue for the buffet. And in front of me was an older gentleman. And I recognized him even from the back of his head. White hair. And I'm not sure if anybody here remembers Jim Dotson. He used to be Mr. Toastmasters when I joined. He was the only DTM I had, well, the first DTM I had ever met. He was division director and everything. And I understand he's still around, but he's retired in Portugal. At the time, he lived in Madrid. Now, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me if I said this. We haven't seen each other for a long time. We used to be good friends. There were two things about him that were distinctive. One, he is Texan, and the other, he is deaf. The combination of being Texan and deaf is interesting. He turned around, he saw me, he said, I said, very good, sir. I said, yes. You, you're not going to use that disgusting picture again. What disgusting picture? That picture of a guy's dick hanging out. What? Dick? What dick? There's a dick in the picture? Are you blind? It's huge. I thought, oh my God, I had never noticed anything. I quickly left the lunch queue, ran back to my hotel, opened the laptop, fired up the picture. It had been staring at me all this time, and I never noticed. Imagine 1 hour before the biggest competition I'd ever been in, the European finals of the international speech contest. And there is Olivia Schofield practicing the perfect ballet speech. And there is Peter Zinn practicing his speech of going up the mountain, the two great stars of European Toastmasters. And here is me, looking at the penis of my main protagonist and wondering what on earth I will do about it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to discourage you. Competing is great fun, and it is a great, great thing to do for many reasons. As Lério, as Isidro mentioned, I have learned more from losing than from winning. Now, I will let you guess straight away, did I win that competition? Do you think I won that competition? Obviously not. Here's the thing, I came up there and I did my speech. Also, I was the first contestant, and I think we all of us who are a bit more experienced, especially in competition, we're all scared of being the first speaker, right? Nobody wants to be the first speaker. It seems jinxed somehow. It seems somehow you're not going to be lucky. I was quite happy. I got it out of the way. I got up there speaking about a man without arms and without legs, without a voice. So it was quite an interesting experience, and I thought it was terrible. But then I sat down and I listened to all the other speeches. And at some point, I thought, actually, it wasn't so bad. And my friends all around me told me, no, your speech was good. It was probably in the top, it would probably be in the top 3. Of course, then Olivia Schofield came on, did the performance of a lifetime, and there was absolutely no way that you could beat that. And I thought maybe, just maybe, there was a chance. And when the announcements were done at the gala dinner, do you know this feeling? Anyone who's been in the competition, I think you'll agree, the nerves before the announcements of the winners are far worse than the nerves before giving a speech. They're absolutely unbearable. And it's like third place, and you try to look cool and composed. Third place, not me. Okay. Oh, hang on. Does that mean second place? Second place? Could it be second place? Second place? Second place? Okay, not me. No, it cannot be. No, it cannot be. No, it cannot be. And of course, it wasn't. And suddenly I felt robbed. Was my speech that bad? So many people had told me, you should be in the top 3, and suddenly nothing. I thank my lucky stars that I didn't win that day. Because if I had, first of all, my ego was big enough already. But if I had, I wouldn't have learned the many lessons that I learned as a result. From this loss and from many others. I hope this will work, and I want to just briefly share a couple of these lessons that might be useful in case you are considering, which I hope you are, to participate in a competition. Bear with me. Can everybody see this? All good?
Yeah.
I think he left by mistake. So let's wait a little bit.
Yeah, maybe that's another lesson from a loser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to reach him.
Probably by mistake, yes.
He's typing. He lost connection.
Oh.
He's trying to reconnect. He's still trying. Oh, he's joining. Welcome back, Percy. No?
Okay, looks like I'm back.
Yeah. So let me co-host you.
That was perfect timing, wasn't it? Lessons from a loser. Gone.
It was fantastic.
I can add this to my list. Okay. Oh man, right. Where was my? Maybe it started just as I hope it doesn't happen again when I start sharing the thing, because that's when it just went. But I had to restart the computer. It was very strange. This file. Oh no. Come on. It says the file is in use. How is that possible? It is not in use. Right, let's try something else. Let us try something else.
Maybe
Sorry
you have
about
the
this.
presentation or make a copy of that file.
That's an idea also. Well, I'll go through this quickly because we're running out of time anyway. So let's just, can you see this now?
No, you're not sharing anything.
I'm not sharing anything?
No.
Come on, what is wrong with this? Aha. Now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to be clever with this. Apparently my computer doesn't like me to be clever.
But you are sharing not the presentation view. We are seeing all the slides.
Yeah, I know, because I'm not in slideshow yet.
Okay.
Now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Et voila. Expect the unexpected. I think that is probably the first and most important lesson I have learned from anything I have done in, well, Toastmasters in general, but competitions especially, and even occasions like this. Something will always happen, especially when you least expect it. I mean, I did not expect to be told that there was something wrong with my picture when I was told about it. And I certainly did not expect now my computer suddenly to just go blank in the middle of my presentation. And it happens. And I think the more we expose ourselves to the risk of this happening, the more we expose ourselves to it actually happening to us. Yes, the first time it's really bad. The second time maybe it's bad. Look, the 10th or 20th time, it's still annoying, but ultimately we get over it. We learn to some extent to expect the unexpected, to roll with the punches. And I think that is something that specifically competing can teach us. The other one is to be prepared. And by being prepared, I don't necessarily mean having rehearsed your speech, which obviously is a very important part of it. Knowing every word of your speech, it doesn't come naturally to all of us. But once you get to the highest levels of competitions, obviously, you have to be pretty much word perfect. And the more prepared you are, the easier it becomes to then deal with the unexpected because you know where to fall back on. It also helps with nerves. There is this wonderful quote by Ralph Smedley: "The unprepared speaker has a right to be afraid." There's a very big difference between fear and nerves. Nerves are great. We need nerves. We want nerves. We need that adrenaline. Fear, on the other hand, is bad. And there's a difference. When you are prepared, you will feel the nerves, but not the fear. Know your place. Check it out the day before if you can, or at least on the day, and you will avoid mishaps like the one I had, jumping off the stage and not being able to get up again. And it's something that probably I should have known before I went there, but it's not something we practice in our meeting rooms, right? And if we keep our speaking to the meeting room that we know most of the time, if we're members of one club, we meet in the same place every week. We only know that place. We don't know any others. So we don't have the habit of really checking out the logistics. How big is the stage? Where's the light coming from? All those details that make a difference. Know your stuff. By that, I mean not just the content that you're talking about, but also the technical equipment. And obviously, then it can go wrong as it is today. But at least if you know, if you are as prepared as possible, then you are better able to deal with the unexpected. The story of my life. I told you that that competition was not the first I had entered. The very first I entered actually was a humorous speech contest. And I vividly remember it. It was a speech about driving. It was called the Costa del Sol Driving School. Now, the thing about Marbella, if you don't know it, is that we're famous actually for having quite eccentric road habits, which is partly because half of our population is retired and drives, little retired cars, and the other half drives Lamborghinis and Ferraris. So the roads are mayhem. And I thought I'd turn that into a funny little comedy skit. The Costa del Sol Driving School. I actually prepared and rehearsed it to a certain degree. And when I did it at home, it was 6 minutes 30 or 7 minutes. But I didn't consider that the audience would actually laugh at the jokes. And that laughter takes time. So imagine my speech when I thought the jokes were mildly funny. The audience was roaring with laughter. They were roaring with laughter for way too long. I went overtime, I was out. It doesn't end there. The winner was also our VP of Public Relations, and he made a big newspaper article about it. Toastmaster loses out to laughter. I will never forget that headline. And we were invited by a ladies' networking group to be their lunchtime entertainment before Christmas. Not a good idea. Guys, if you're ever asked, do not volunteer to give a speech, more so a driving lesson to 80 ladies who haven't had their lunch yet. It is not a good idea. But I learned several things from that too. For example, how to speak when people are setting up a buffet right behind you. There were 3 waiters making a lot of noise. And the best was that lady in the front row who sat through the entire speech like this, with this facial expression. She looked like the reincarnation of Winston Churchill. Never, I shall never laugh at your jokes. I shall never smile. I shall never find it funny. And you still somehow have to go through it. Now, every time I face a difficult audience, I remember that lady. Still, if you can avoid going overtime, don't go overtime. I already mentioned the benefits of adrenaline. Adrenaline is your friend, but obviously in the right doses and for the right reasons. And here is one little lesson that I learned from the one time I actually won something. In Amsterdam, table topics. I was nervous. And you see, in table topics, there always is fear because you can't really be prepared, right? You don't know what this topic is going to be. You don't know what you're going to respond. Well, some people prepare their table topic in advance. That's also not a good idea. I was the 9th or 10th contestant to come up. Long time to wait. And it was early in the morning, which is not my time. I was standing there with all the other contestants. We had about 45 minutes to go until it was my turn. I was so nervous. I was pacing up and down. Everybody was pacing up and down. But almost everyone was like this, somehow trying to find inspiration. And I thought, to hell with this. I'm not going to spend 45 minutes pacing up and down like a caged lion. I'm going to get a coffee. I chatted to the barman. Suddenly I felt better. So I started chatting to this person. I started chatting to that person. I chatted to everybody. I never stopped chatting. They told me to shut up because they wanted to concentrate. I didn't want to shut up. I didn't want to concentrate. When the time came for me to walk up for my table topic, I even had to be told by the sergeant at arms to shh, silence for the judges. I'm sorry. I got up there. I was still in chatting mode. I got the topic. I just started talking. And I won. My takeaway from that is speaking, like any activity, it's a muscle. You exercise it. A football player, have you seen them before they come on the football pitch? They warm up. We need to warm up. And a warm up is to talk, just talk, just talk. Just get into a conversation mode, because when we're up on stage, ultimately, we're having a conversation with the audience, even if it is our perfectly rehearsed and polished speech, where every word and every gesture has been rehearsed. We're still having a conversation with the audience. Get into this conversation mode before, and it'll be easier. Respect your losses. That's maybe the most important lesson. And when I say respect, I mean really respect them and embrace them as an experience. I came third in the speech competition 2 years ago in our district, and it was one of well, it was the first time I went in, no, it was the second time I went in a competition in online. I don't like speaking online. I really don't like it. You probably can tell even now, I'm not particularly comfortable in it. And I had to really learn how to do it. And with every stage of the competition that I did, I somehow began to feel more comfortable, and I knew what to do and which gestures. And then it got to district level. And just as I'm beginning my speech, my neighbor starts to do some renovation in his apartment. So I actually had to do it through the noise of the next door. And then Isidro came on with his speech. And it was such a powerful speech to watch. I forgot I was in the competition for one moment. I actually saw that and I thought, wow, what a speech. And when the results were announced, I was so happy with the outcome. And of course, I would have liked to have won. But what matters is the experience of having done it, and of respecting and learning from every time that you're on there, especially when you lose. And last but not least, yes, check your slides for hidden body parts. Because if you don't, you find yourself in the embarrassing situation of being 1 hour before your big moment, and you're locked in your hotel room with an impossible choice. Eraser tool or snipping tool. Ladies and gentlemen, to this day, I am not proud of my choice, but I did what had to be done. And yes, I didn't win, but I don't mind, because the most important thing that we can do is to get ourselves out there. I have been in Toastmasters for 17 years almost. I've probably done hundreds of table topics and hundreds of evaluations, and I've received hundreds of evaluations, but nothing has taught me more than competing. The buzz of stepping out of your comfort zone into the real world, where there is something to win and something to lose, while still being in the comforting and supportive environment of Toastmasters is something unique. So if you're doubting, if you've never done it before, all I can tell you is do it. Do it. Do it. Be in it to win it and be in it to lose it. Both will gain you more than you can possibly imagine. There is a quote I love, and with that I will leave you. It's by Samuel Beckett. Ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail again, fail better. Zero.
Wonderful, wonderful as always. Thank you, Percy. It was really, really great. Questions, people? I know you have questions.
I
Any
hope
question?
you do.
Come on, guys. Don't be shy. You can ask questions with your camera off.
I promise it's the last time I castrated anyone. I only did it that one time. You can ask me questions.
Percy, I've got one for you.
Come on, Imad, go ahead.
Tell me, Imad.
I mean, like, I was impressed really by the presentation, but more with the way you have and you are dealing with your losses. How come 17 years of Toastmaster and you're still determined to try again and try and try and try? If I were you, I would surrender, I would leave, because for all those years, you have this perseverance. I personally cannot. My question, Percy, is this. First time I am participating in the club contest this year, next week.
Nice.
And you know, well, going more for participation and creating the, I would say, it's more for participation, not for winning. However, I would not really deny that I would be disappointed if I would be number 7 or number 6. And I want to take off with me that sort of failing, yes, but not again and again and again. 1, 2, 3, I can accept it, but not all the time. How can I overcome to accepting failures without trying again? That's my question, Percy, for you. Thank you.
Well, it's a very interesting question. I'm thinking about it as you're talking. I think one key is to actually just enjoy the process. But don't forget that I'm talking now about failure, but a failure that comes on top of success. You know, first I won before I lost. I won at club level, and I won before also at some point maybe I lost, but I really was in it with a vision to win, and I made it on my first attempt to district. So actually that was a success. Then I didn't make it. But I think that your ambition has to be to win, and then to be okay when you lose and understand, right, why did I lose? What can I change? What can I make better for next time? The thing you asked me in the beginning, what's the reason I'm still trying? Very simple. I didn't win yet, at least not at the top level, but I came this close. I came close enough. So, you know, I feel that I'm not totally useless. I could still maybe do it. So it's that, obviously, if you constantly go in and you never even qualify, at some point you feel, okay, maybe I shouldn't do public speaking. Maybe I should do something else. But when you come close, but not quite, that's the best. That's the absolute best, because it keeps you motivated enough.
Thank you, Percy. Thank you very much.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you, Imad, and good luck as well. Next question, Zineb.
Thank you, Isidro. Guys, do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Percy, for all the laughers. It was really funny today, and like always, I'm really convinced that you are the most humorous, important humorous person I've ever met in my life. And yes, I don't know if it's a part of your personality, of your you have trained on this, because for me, it's the most challenging part in delivering speeches is that part of engaging your sense of humor. If you can just give me some tips to do that, or you have basically to have this sense of humor basically or naturally in your personality. This is my question.
It's a very deep question, because if I'm totally honest with you, my sense of humor is a form of what's the word? Self-preservation or it's a coping mechanism, because really deep down, I'm a very depressive person. So this is my way of, it's actually, I'm only half joking, you know, most comedians were not maybe the most happy or cheerful people in everyday life. For me, humor has always been a way of, you know, I'm not saying that it's an act, it is my personality, but it's something that I channel because it makes it easier for me to be on stage. You know, when Isidro mentioned me taking my shirt off, and, you know, literally I talked about getting naked and this of getting half naked on stage. Making that funny made it easier for me. You know, if I did that seriously, it would be 10 times more intimidating, but by doing it as a joke, and this is why, you know, there's always this assumption or just of received wisdom that the British are very good at humor, or the English in particular. And it's because historically the English, or a certain, let's say, class of English people, were notoriously embarrassed about everything. And their way of coping with life was by making jokes about it, because otherwise they'd be too embarrassed. And it comes a little bit from there. I think I wouldn't necessarily say try and use humor consciously. It's more something that comes from you. But it all starts really at not taking yourself seriously and wanting to make yourself feel more comfortable, I would say. Then also humor is a way of connecting, because the moment I make a joke and I see you laughing at it, if I feel connected with you, it's like a small validation. So that's of course very difficult when you do it online and you don't really see the reactions of people.
Yeah, that's what Zineb said is completely true. Percy has this kind of, I would say, intelligent humor. I love it a lot.
Thank you.
You know how to deliver a great joke, even in things that you write on Facebook. It's always funny. Next question, guys. Well, Percy, I have a question for you.
I think Zineb has a question.
Another one? Maybe she did
the same. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Just sorry, can I add something? Yeah, maybe it is a hilarious thing, but tell us, please, Percy, from where on the earth you got your ideas for table topics? Because I've been following you in table topics. Oh my God, they are incredibly amazing and just impressive.
Oh, thank you. I honestly have no idea, because, you know, table topics is that really is like a complete lottery. You have no idea what you get. Last night, I did the worst table topic of my life. It had something to do with the topic, but no, I think you have to just run with in table topics, especially, I think the best thing you can do is run with the first idea that pops into your head. And if anyone has watched rugby, you know how it works. They catch the ball and then they turn around and they run, and they have no idea at that moment really where they're running. As they figure it out as they go along, and then they try and score a goal. And it's a bit like that. but obviously it can go badly wrong. Where do I get my ideas from? I have no idea. My brain works in mysterious ways. I don't understand it. But I think what I mentioned earlier about being chatty, do you know, we're not stuck for ideas in conversation. If we're now standing somewhere and we're having a conversation, you come up with, you know, it's not, we just don't call it a table topic, but we're having a conversation and you'll come up with all kinds of things, everybody, each one of you. It's just when we're on stage, we suddenly have this perception that this is very different. And we put ourselves in a situation where we create this pressure on ourselves and the nerves and the anxiety and everything, and then suddenly our brains shut down and don't work anymore. So if we can keep ourselves in a conversational mode, I think it's easier. Still didn't help me yesterday.
Imad has another question. Thank you, Zina.
Yeah, thank you very much, Isidro. Percy, just a small one or one for a beginner like me who is first time participating in a club contest. I mean, best advice or recommendation or any tips or lessons learned just to go more confident delivery of next week. Thank you.
Which contests are you going for?
Just club contest. It just,
yeah,
as I said, I am a beginner.
Speech contest or evaluation or something else?
No, speech contest.
Speech. I would say most important, I think, is that you know how you're coming on. I use a little bit theater terms, coming on stage. How are you going to walk up on, like you should be able to picture the beginning before you even say the first words. So that is it. That's also why you want to know what the place is like. Okay, in the club, you know what it's like, but still have an image of how you're walking on and then what your first sentence is going to be. Deep breath. When they call you up, deep breath, silence, stand there for a few seconds, just feel the ground under your feet and then begin. That is one. And the other is knowing how you're going to finish. What is your last sentence going to be? Everything in between, okay, once you go to higher levels, it should all be more or less rehearsed, but you can improvise. But if you know how you begin and you know how you finish and you have a very clear visualization of that, then the rest is much easier. And it adds a lot of confidence.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Two great speakers today. And this is a wonderful idea for our program quality director, Vera. And we are so glad to have these speakers. And I will present now the full agenda of our Winners Academy. If you allow me, I will share my screen. This, okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Thumbs up?
Yes, yes,
okay,
I see your screen.
Great, let me take this off. Well, this is our Winners Academy. As you know, we started with Mike Carr. He's the world champion of public speaking 2020, the first winner after pandemic. So it set the bar for online speeches, online competition. It was amazing. And then we had Carol Bowser teaching us how to make our voice easy on the ear. It was an amazing workshop, very interactive, very funny. Then we had Roger Caesar. He was the second runner-up in 2021. So a great speaker, as a wonderful session, interactive as well, brilliant. We had our Jessica, which is our current district champion, teaching us how to speak, how to use humor in speeches. Then today we had Lério, Cunha, and Percy Roland. Next week, it's not a nepotism, it would be myself. I invited myself to be, I will be delivering, teaching structure and building blocks of a contest speech. I often see speeches in clubs at area level, at division, even at district level, that wonderful material. If they knew a little bit more about structures and building blocks of a contest speech, it would be even greater speech. So if you want to learn a little bit about that, come next week. And we will end with these great gentlemen. It is the world champion 1995, and he has coached the winner of 2001, for instance, which is a great coach as well. So Mark Brown is we couldn't close our Winners Academy this year with a bigger figure. So this is our schedule. I hope you like it, and I hope you can attend next presentation as well. So where is the toolbar to close this? Well, I don't know what it is. You attend the, oh, it is, it's here. Stop sharing, okay. So, any question before we close this session? No? Let me thank Lério again, thank Percy Roland for beautiful presentation, both of you. And I would like to thank you all for attending. And of course, you thank us because we are giving you wonderful content, right? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Isidro, for hosting.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great night.